It seems to me that all of our modern horror movie villains are just cheaply pasted together parts taken from other characters. Most fictional characters are just combinations of others, but besides the Frankenstein monster, we shouldn't be able to see the stitches holding it all together. Bagul is yet another hastily made and disposable creation, and a compilation of things that we've already seen before. You start with a Slender Man base for his overall appearance, add a spoonful of Michael Myers to give his face some personality, throw in some Samara and Shinigami for his powers and abilities, and finish with the little Pinhead for his motivation. Maybe it's just me that notices this, but to his credit, no one has managed to give an explanation to why he does what he does. It took me a while to see because I was paying too much attention to the horror elements and not to how those elements impacted the characters. So I was stuck trying to find a sensible idea to explain what Bagul was up to, and then an unexpected thing happened. The Slender Man movie came out. Of course, I already knew who Slender Man was, but once I noticed that Bagul and Slender Man were basically the same, I started writing Too Stupid to Be Scary. One of the points that I bring up is that the kids in these films are actually the killers, but it didn't make sense to me why they would agree to kill their families so easily. And it was that question that made me turn my attention to focusing on the kids. We only see the daily lives and problems of the two families in both movies. We see a dozen families killed in both films, but don't have any extra details about their daily interactions. At least that's what I thought at first. If you pay attention to each film, you can see that all of these kids felt neglected or abused in some way. If we use the two families that we know more about, they both have problems that are affecting the kids in a negative way. Imagine we just see this, and never get to see behind the curtain of what these people's lives are really like. It looks like they're a normal and happy family, but we know for certain that this isn't the case. So when we see the other family's happy moments, how can we trust that behind closed doors these kids aren't being abused as well? The family in the first movie isn't as dysfunctional, but there are several signs of neglect in both children. It's the reason that the family was so easily subdued and poisoned. No one was paying attention to the kids. Watching the 8mm films with that in mind, I noticed the exact same subtle signs of abuse in other kids on film. In the fishing video, the kid's body language is beaten and tired. He looks alone and left out. The dad tries to teach him things, just like the dad in part 2, but we know for sure that he's abusive, and yet on film, he appears to be attentive and involved with his kids. And this is an easy explanation for why the kids would have negative feelings about their families, and ultimately why they would want to kill them. And it's these negative feelings that cause Bagul to offer to help, for a small price of course. Bagul isn't the villain of the film. Bagul is trying to save these children from their parents, and ultimately from his brother. We'll get to his brother in a moment. What do we know about Bagul? Let's start with explaining what Bagul is and what his powers are. There's very little information on him, so I only had the 2 movies and the wiki page to draw from. No novels, no comics, no additional explanations. Bagul is listed as a pagan deity that consumes children's souls. He lives in another dimension and can travel to our world through technology and art, like TV, radio, film, and pictures. He controls animals and insects. He influences kids to kill their families in a ritualistic way as they film it, and then he eats their souls. Well, that's what we're supposed to believe, but the part about the kids is only partially true. The first movie gives a small explanation to his past reputation of being a bloodthirsty demon, but a quick glance at his Wikia page shows that he has a brother named Malik that's been well known for thousands of years for sacrificing children. Bagul supposedly tried to copy his brother's practices of sacrificing kids, and his mouth was shut forever as a punishment. Wouldn't it make more sense if Bagul's mouth was shut for trying to warn and save the children from his brother, and he was punished by never being able to warn the kids again? And it's so his brother Malik won't hear what he's doing. Bagul isn't the villain of the film. He's basically the weapon that the real antagonist uses. He's Leatherface's chainsaw, Freddy's glove, or Jason's machete. Bagul is summoned by the kids that want to kill their families because of abuse or neglect. Bagul arrives and makes a deal with the kids. Kill your family and record it, and I'll take you to a happy place and keep you safe. I'll give you whatever supplies you need to do this, but if you fail, I'll have to eat your soul. Why kill the family and eat their souls if he's not evil? Being a demon from another dimension, he's still bound by certain rules and rituals that must be done in order for the kids to transcend into his world. Plus, the kids want to escape their families, and he's trying to help the only way he can. Bagul is basically a genie that's granting a wish, but he's still bound by rules when crossing over into other dimensions. The daughter from the first movie summoned Bagul to get revenge on her family. Her drawings acted like writing a name in the Death Note notebook, or solving Pinhead's puzzle box. 4 minutes in, the dad and daughter talk. She's mad that they moved and wants to go back to her old house. In the second movie, both boys are frustrated with their mom and abusive dad and are unhappy about moving around so much. Is it so hard to believe that it was the kids that summoned Bagul to kill their families? Just look at the ghost kids' behavior. Do they look like their souls are being devoured and tortured by a sadistic demon? Or do they look like kids living in a state of happiness and safety? I know they look creepy, but that's just a result of living in Bagul's dimension. But other than that, they all look pretty happy. Think about the daughter's behavior when she kills her family. She doesn't look like she's afraid of Bagul, and he even carefully picks her up like a caring father. This can be explained as mind control, but then why are they all so playful as ghosts? The kids feel neglected and abused, and it's those negative feelings that attract Bagul. He sends a ghost to see if the kids want help, and if the kids agree, they must watch all of the films so they can start the ritual and so that they understand exactly what must be done. The kid kills their family and records it, and then Bagul gently takes them to a dimension where they're safe and happy. And this is a perfect time to talk about Bagul's daughter.